Very recently, we introduced you to the BCI Defense Dagger series carbine. This particular one is a 16-inch 300 AAC blackout. And though I'm very early in the testing, I absolutely love it so far. I'm not surprised because the base rifle is the BCI Defense Professional Series. And I've said numerous times, and I dearly mean it, it is my favorite direct gas impingement gun. After uploading that first video, I got so many comments and questions from you, and so we got some really fantastic ones, by the way, that I couldn't resist coming back to the range, bringing the Dagger, and exploring the round a little bit more. 300 AAC blackout. There seems to be a lot of urban legend and myth about that round, and I wanted to help try to clear a few of those things up by doing a couple tests and maybe learning a little bit about it together. The ammunition that I've been using to test the platform so far is some ammo that I had on hand. It's MagTech, 123 grain MagTech ammunition. Now, we were recently contacted by Discreet Ballistics, a company that's making some really cool rounds with some really neat claims, and I'm very excited about it. Discreet Ballistics, they've got a special subsonic load. They actually have several of them. This particular one was made for carbines, for 16-inch barrels. They have another load that is made from 7 to 10-inch barrels, or right around there for pistol length barrels, for optimum performance. Today, we're using their load for the carbines. But of course, 300 blackout, especially subsonic, doesn't really shine unless we're shooting it with a suppressor. Thankfully, we've got a suppressor. We've got one of the Doomsday cans, the 30 caliber, the 7.62 Doomsday from Huntertown Arms. And we can't really show as much as we'd like without a chronograph. And we have a chronograph. Let's get to work and put a couple myths to rest. And let's see how this platform with that ammo actually performs. So according to some of the questions and comments that I've been receiving, it seems that the barrel length is kind of at the crux of many of the questions that we're getting. The BCI Dagger that we're using today is a 16-inch barrel, just to be clear. I've got the chronograph, and we're using the Ballistic Precision chronograph from Caldwell. I like that one over all of the other ones I've been using because it allows me to save the data on my smartphone to be able to retrieve it at a different date. And I don't have to worry about taking notes and having them get washed away in foul weather or just losing them. And I can read it remotely right here. To start with, I want to shoot 5 rounds at 8 feet from the muzzle with the MagTech 123 grain standard supersonic ammo. Let's see what we get for a muzzle velocity reading with that. .2255. .2341. .2315. .2376. And .2338. So that gives us an average of 23.25 100 feet per second, 8 feet from the muzzle, with the Doomsday suppressor. Let's load 5 rounds of the subsonic, of the Discreet Ballistic subsonic ammo. And this is 190 grain, full metal jacket. We'll see what the readings are for that. .1118. 1114. 1107. 1122. 1107. I've got to dive a little bit deeper into the data that group just provided us with this Caldwell program, because the max spread was pretty slim on that. This stuff is super consistent. I'm happy to see that. So we have an average 5-shot string of 1,113 feet per second, 1113.60. Very easy on the ears. Sounds like it's awful hard hitting down range. Now the max the spread, the max spread on this stuff from the fastest of the 5 shots to the slowest on the 5 shots was 15 feet per second. That is crazy consistent. I'm really happy to see that. I'm so happy that I learned about the discrete ballistics, because everything that I've tested so far has been extremely impressive. Now, I can already envision the questions coming in. Does the sound suppressor affect the muzzle velocity or not? I have a pretty good idea what it's going to do, only because I do this a lot. Let's just remove the suppressor. Let's go back to the factory muzzle device, and let's measure the muzzle velocity in another string. 1163, 1123, 1097, 1129, 1098. So 1122 feet per second average without the sound suppressor, 1113 feet per second average, again, both in 5-shot groups with the sound suppressor. That gives us 9 feet per second difference in average with the suppressor or without the suppressor. And the muzzle velocity was actually 9 feet per second slower without the can. Now, I hope that's helpful to some of you, because I've been asked by an awful lot of people, does the suppressor affect the muzzle velocity? And the answer is typically no. If it's going to vary by a few feet per second, it's going to be so few that you almost can't calculate it. It doesn't really matter as far as the equation. It's such a small difference, if there is any. The use of a sound suppressor does not typically interfere with the muzzle velocity of the ammunition. What it does seem to influence, that I think some people get mixed up with it, is the amount of back pressure or overpressuring the action. You'll notice sometimes, and I'll have to look at the video, I don't know what it's doing today, I've been watching the chronograph, but you'll find the ejection flight path of the casings will change a little bit when you use the suppressor. Just like an automobile exhaust, it's putting more pressure in the system, as opposed to running, say, on open headers. So there's a little bit more gas to operate the system and to help it cycle and to eject the cartridges, typically a little bit stronger when you use a suppressor. But most of that difference happens behind the projectile, not impacting the projectile itself. Well, obviously I'm on the pistol range again right now. The long range has a tractor sitting in it, and it needs to be mowed before I can spend any time there again. But while I'm already here, I'm at somewhere between 25 and 35 yards because everything is already set up. I want to shoot a couple groups at this distance just to see what they look like. I know it's very close. It's not really going to tell us a whole lot, but since I'm already here, I might as well put down a few 5-shot groups anyway. So a couple things. First, where I'm using a red dot sight, and my eyes are old, this is that nice Vortex Spark 2, by the way, and that thing comes with the Dagger. I really like it. I'm using a magnifier. It's a 3-power magnifier by Sightmart. I've been using it in some other tests, and it's nice and clear. So I'm going to use that where this is an accuracy type of test. Now, we're only at 30-ish yards, so it's not going to paint a huge picture for us. We can't come to any scientific conclusion, obviously, but we can at least tell if it likes the ammo or not. Now because having nice electronic equipment or even a smartphone doesn't translate into a smart operator, I just laid down a 5-shot group, and I recorded the shot down range. Evidently, I didn't hit record on this thing, so I'm going to lay down another 5-shot group. I hope I can match the first one I did, because it seems to really like this ammunition. It's one big ragged hole. So I'm going to try to do that one more time. I hope I hit record on this thing this time, and you can join me. 5 shots, over 5 shots at 30-something yards with the 190 grain discrete ballistic subsonic ammo. So that's 10 rounds at 30-ish yards. And yes, I can come to the conclusion that it absolutely likes this ammo. I can't wait to get it farther back. The sound signature is really quiet. It's nice, pleasant stuff to shoot without any hearing protection, even remotely necessary. So that's going to wrap up the second part of this BCI Defense Dagger series. I hope that we answered a few questions on the 300 AAC blackout ammo specifically. At least it's more data to add to the conversation. If you enjoyed it, please click like, share us with your friends in your vast social media universe, subscribe to the channel if you don't already, and make sure that you click notify so it lets you know when we upload a video. Check us out over on Patreon. It's a new project over there that's an awful lot of fun. And you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/guntestvids. Until next time, have fun and be safe.